Hello everyone, this is Edgar with Team Lotus Fox, and today I am going to be playing some Modern. And as you can see before me, I have a little bit of a spicy one. Not actually a deck I have played very much with historically, but on the recommendation of a good friend of mine, Will Pulliam, I'm giving this deck a go because he's saying that it's actually pretty well situated in Modern right now, and I think a really big part of that is the card Uro, Titan of Nature's Wrath. Both in this deck and in other decks, it's kind of slowed down the format a little bit. And this deck kind of just gets to play that Jund game that, I mean, we see Jund resurging a little bit in Modern, just because that style of deck is kind of powerful right now with all the Titan decks being nerfed since the banning of Once Upon a Time. And this deck just does it slightly different. Obviously, the mana base is a little bit more ambitious, but you get access to more powerful cards, certain tools that help you win certain matchups. Obviously, the card Niv Mizzet, very good heads up in all the fair matchups. But you get access to stuff like Unmoored Ego, various hate cards. Obviously, you get access to way more things because of the extra 2 colors that you get to play. But yeah, I'm excited to give this deck a go. Plays a lot of my favorite cards. Renin 6 is a card that I've had a lot of experience with and is obviously very good in this deck. And I'm really looking forward to giving it a go. So I'm just going to hop right into a Modern League. And then we can talk more about the deck there. Modern kind of in flux right now. Kind of a lot of uncertainty. The Earl Urza decks are on the rise. People are playing more dedicated field Titan decks as opposed to Amulet, which I have historically played more of myself. So definitely very interested to see how this performs. Clothis is a card that's getting a little bit more hype right now, just as a pretty sticky threat that's also can gain you relevant life or ramp you. So excited to see how that performs. Right, to start off, we have a one-lander here, but we're on the draw. We do have 2 Thoughtseizes, and if we hit any land that enables us to cast Renin 6, then we're going to be off to the races. And we do have 2 Renin 6s in case like the first one gets discarded or counterspelled, so I think that this is a keep. The question is, are we going to get a black-green land or a black-red land? And the answer is now simple. I suppose we should take a closer look at the mana base, and actually there is no black-green land. So a little bit awkward. Obviously the mana base not necessarily perfect. But you kind of have to pick. You can't play all the shock lands. So the question here is, do we care more about having access to this Renin 6 on turn 2 or Thoughtseizing right now? And our opponent led on Vista, so that says to me like my opponent's deck is going to be slower. So I think I'm going to play this game a little bit slower and ensure that I have access to this Renin 6. So I think I'm just going to fetch a Breeding Pool here. Work towards this Uro. My goal here is going to be to a great draw. Obviously, Pillar is, a pillar of the mana base. It's a kind of the glue that holds the mana base together. And I'm going to play it here, and the reason I'm doing that is because I want to be able to save the Snowland so that you can go Uro into Snowland and play an Astrolabe. And the Pillar doesn't actually cast any of your 1-mana spells, your Thoughtseizes and your Astrolabes. Alright, so the Ren's stuck, which is really, really good for us. And it looks like my opponent might have an Ice Fang Coatl here. Yeah. So opponent could be playing probably a Mystic Sanctuary deck. would be my guess. Ren really good against Ice Fang Kodo as well. Gonna be able to pick that off. Field of Ruin not scary at all. Ren is just gonna perfectly stabilize my meta base. Alright, so they're going for a draw step Field of Ruin. Absolutely fine with me. I'm gonna keep the Swamp in my deck. So I think my plan this turn is to go Uro into Thoughtseize rather than double Thoughtseize. Just develop a little bit more. So I want to get a forest or an island here just to work towards building my Uro, and I don't think it matters too much which one I get. So I'm just going to get a forest. And now the question is, do I want to return the pillar or do I want to fetch and return the fetch? I think I want to fetch and return the fetch just to maintain cards in my graveyard for Uro. So let's do that. I'm going to fetch up an island. And actually, I'm probably just going to pick off the Ice Fang Quota with a Ren 6 as opposed to returning anything. That is probably the better play. Alright, so Polluted Delta can't get the Temple Garden. And Verdant Catacombs cannot get the Steam Vents. I think we care more about Steam Vents right now. Or are more likely to care about Steam Vents, so I'm going to use the... Excuse me, sorry about that. I'm going to use the Verdant Catacomb to get the Swamp here. Could be fetching Shocklands in case our opponent has more Field of Ruins, but I'm very much not worried about them attacking my mana base. Alright, so they have 2 trophies, 2 Rens, and a Ground. I think I'm just going to take the Ground. It's the most unique effect. It's going to counter a Niv Mizzet, which is not something that I want them to be able to do. It's bad against my Uro that's already in the graveyard, but if stuff goes wrong, it's most likely to have a good impact here. I think I'm just really not worried about the rest of the stuff. Alright, so they're going to rent back their Field of Ruin. Nope, their Vista. Alright. So looks like they're playing a bit of a spicy one too. They're at least 4 colors. Unfortunately, we cannot bring to life for Niv Mizzet this turn because of the way we fetched. But that is totally fine. I think I will just... I think I'm going to return Uro this turn. So I can start with an Astrolabe. I'm going to lose access to all my fetch lands for red and 6 is the only problem. But I don't think that's too big of a deal. I'm just going to start with the Astrolabe and then see where it goes from there. So we get to Uro into Thoughtseize, Kaya's Guile. This card has a lot of modes. None of them are particularly good right now. Could fizzle a red activation. But I just think I want to bring back the Uro, and I'm not too worried about not getting maximum value off Ren and 6. So let's do that. Get a Shockland here. This Steep Fence. Can't get the Godless Shrine. Because we get the... No, I can't get the Blood Crypt either. Alright. They're going to be able to trophy this, but not worried about that. We hit a Niv Mizzet, which is going to be really good. They have a third trophy. So I think I'm just going to take one of the trophies. I'm not worried about this Ren in 6. And I don't want them to be able to... I mean, the trophy's just going to... It has some impact, so... They're probably going to trophy my Uro, and then I'm going to cast Niv Mizzet. Going for the draw step Field of Ruin, which is fine. We have this Ren going still. We're just going to go to Runner, Niv Mizzet, so we're just going to completely bury them, I think. Eventually we can try to bring to life for some sort of hammer, like something to Glittering Wish out of our sideboard. Oh, still am dressed up. Nice. So I could trophy their Ren. I think I'm just going to Glittering Wish though. So I'm going to plus my Ren, get the breeding pool, play this. Well, maybe I do just trophy. It makes it more awkward for them to get back this Field of Ruin. Not that it really matters too much. No, I think I want to save the trophy for like some possible cryptic command shenanigans, and I'm okay just discarding a card here. So I'm just gonna cast Glittering Wish. And I think I'm just gonna get another Niv Mizzet. Could get Unmoored Ego. Nothing particularly I want to name though. I'm just gonna get another Niv Mizzet. Just keep chaining these. So how does our opponent win? So it looks like they're not a Mystic Sanctuary deck, actually, now that I think about it further. They have too many basics that aren't islands. Alright. So they keep attacking my mana here. It's fine. I am probably going to try to Kyle's Guile this turn. Ooh, they got their 6th snow basic. Alright, an Unmoored Ego. So I think I'm going to go Ego plus Kyle's Guile. And what do I want to name? Probably just name Uro. I really wish I knew what their deck was all about. But eventually we're just going to alt this Ren in 6. So maybe I just name Trophy to prevent the alt, or to prevent them from preventing the alt. But then they draw 2 cards, so they could draw some scary stuff. And we have another Ren, so I'm not too worried. I'm just gonna name Uro. Although Uro's not really scary either. Kind of funny is I'm kind of in this spot that like I can't really think of anything. Like I'm pretty far ahead. I can't really think of much that beats me. I'm just gonna name the Assassin's Trophies and try to win with the Ren alt. They have 2 more Rens in their hand. Alright, so they do have Uros like I thought. They have 5 mana Ashiok, Jason Mind Sculptor, Snapcaster. So I'm gonna take a quick screenshot of this. Alright, pretty sweet deck. So if I get rid of their Jaces and their Uros, it's gonna be pretty difficult for them to win. I guess Ashiok too. Alright. So I suppose it's not guaranteed yet. They have 3 more basics and Tranquil Thicket. This is a sweet deck. Alright. So they gotta draw 1 card. So I'm gonna exile their graveyard and make a 1/1 here. This 1/1's gonna ping the Ren every turn, so I don't have to like deal with it immediately. But I do have this trophy if anything goes wrong. I don't want my opponent ulting as well. Alright, so they drew an Uro. Can exile that one with Kaya's Guile if my opponent's graveyard gets thick enough. Alright, and their hand is just Swamp, Ren, Ren. Curious if they're fetching now. Okay. Alright, so I have my own Uro, which could be good. I could also just play another Niv Mizzet. So anything sweet I can bring to life for. I can bring to life for the other Ego, but I don't want to do that quite yet. I think I want to play Uro so that I have the option to keep up Kaya's Guile. I think that's an important option to have. So let's do that. Wouldn't mind hitting some more land drops here. Finding a fetch line would be really good. Not a fetch land. I'm gonna play the Astrolabe, but I can trophy the Ren if I need to. We found a land. Do I want to trophy this Ren? I think I do. Isn't actually this. No, they still have 1 more basic. So Ren, Vista are going to be 3 cards in their graveyard, but they don't have a good way to get any more. So I think it's pretty unlikely that they can bring back Uro, and even if they can, it's really not that big of a deal. Alright, so they're out of basics now. What would be the worst thing for them to draw from me? Probably the Ashiok. But even that is not too bad. Okay. So they drew a Jace. I'm gonna unsummon here. No, they're brainstorming. Okay. Jace obviously really good with Ren. able to shuffle away all these extra lands. Curious that they played the red first. Alright, another arrow. So I'm definitely going to exile my opponent's graveyard after I deal with these 2 planeswalkers. Just get rid of these 2 arrows. Then they just have 1 arrow left. Oh, I didn't even notice that they have 4 Fabled Passage in their deck as well. It's a lot of affection lines, but I suppose that makes sense. Alright. I'm going to start by going to combat. Kill the Jace. This Vista doesn't actually get anything, but I'm just going to put it into play anyways. Could have saved it for the Ren ult, but I can just always get it back with the Ren as well. So I can play Teferi and Instant Speed Bring to Light. Doesn't really seem like it's worth it. I think I'm just gonna play Helix and Niv Mizzet. Oh wait, no, I want a Kaio's Guile. So I think I'm just gonna go Teferi, Helix, Kaio's Guile. Yeah, that's the play. Start by Teferiing. Just gonna plus. Going to Helix. The Ren in 6. Then I'm going to say go, and after they draw, I don't think they have effectual. Yeah. I'm going to Kai's Guile to exile their graveyard to create 1/1. So my opponent's just treading water here, but just looking at the screenshot of their deck, they don't have very many options to win the game anymore. They just have a couple Ashioks, so we have more than enough answers. Could even bring to light to get rid of the Ashioks, and then I think that's actually going to be all she wrote. So I'm going to emblem this Ren. Wish I kept this in hand now. Probably a pretty obvious mistake in hindsight. But I am just going to be able to kill all of them. I can just Assassin's Trophy every single one of their win conditions, so it's gonna be it. Didn't really need to do this for 5 colors, but going to anyways. Is it gone already? Oh, it is gone already. Oops. Okay, well in that case, I suppose we just Niv Visit. I should have just Niv Visit from hand, obviously. I was trying to get the Unmoored Ego to get rid of their Ashioks, but I had already casted. I thought I got the one out of the sideboard. Was there not one in the main deck? Maybe I just missed it. Maybe it wasn't there. Thought there was one in the main deck too. I probably just missed it. It's okay. Oh no, here. Yeah, there's another one. So yeah, this is the one from the main deck. I'm just confusing myself for no reason. Alright, Ashiok, that's fine. 2/3 is fine. Respect my opponent just slugging through. They get some information out of the deal, which is not nothing. Also, I'm very low on clock because I've been talking so much. So they could be trying to go from one of those victories. So I'm just gonna play the rest of this game quickly. Chaining off some Codals. Cloth is a pretty insane threat. Just randomly. It's like really hard for any deck to deal with. And we just have lethal next turn. Yeah, still do with the lightning helix out of the graveyard. Although, I guess they're going to flash back this arrow, so maybe not. If I plus my Teferi, I would have been able to bring to light here, but just trying to save clock. I think this is the last arrow in their deck, right? So if I Kai's Guile it, should be... Yeah, they only play the 3. I was trying to helix them out of the graveyard and I accidentally played the land instead. It's fine. Just get a lightning helix out of the deck. That works too. Alright, we got there. It's a little behind on clock, but we had some discussion points there. Probably need to be a little more cognizant of that stuff. This deck is very slow. I'm going to board in these Veils. They show me grounds. They show me a full clip of trophies. So it's going to be a blowout against any of those cards. And Boil is going to be bad, I think. I think it's just the Veils that I want. I could board in Wheel of Sun and Moon. It's good against Uro and Ren. Maybe that's worth it. And Snapcaster too, I suppose. Let's try boarding in one. What do we? Let's figure out what we don't want first. I suppose we don't really want Verdict. I think that Ego is fine because their threats are so one-faceted. Lightning Helix seems kind of weak. So we board out at least 2 of those. So maybe we do this. Maybe we board in the 1 wheel. I don't think we want any of these other bullets. There's definitely a weird balance that you need to strike with this deck between what to board in, what to save for Glittering Wish. Like the Veto is something I could see boarding in. but I kind of like everything that I have right in front of me. Definitely want all the discard. I want all the trophies, all the Rens. I think the one Lightning Helix is fine because they have Jaces. I could honestly even see wanting a second one over this wheel. Colossus seems good. Kaya's Guile seems good. Maybe we don't want this. Maybe the wheel is too nonsense. We can wish for it in late game scenarios where it would be good. Maybe we just want another Helix for picking off Jace, but I think his Fate Seal is so bad, and they know we have Helix, so I think I'm just going to keep in the one. I'm going to try the one wheel. It might be powerful enough. Like this hand, classic Godless Shrine Uro hand, but we have Thoughtseize, we have good mana, we have spells, definitely going to keep. We also have a turn 4 Niv Mizzet, which is not something I've mentioned so far, but it's another powerful aspect of this deck. I'm going to Thoughtseize on 1. Sometimes I like waiting, but because they have red and 6 and they seem very reliant on that card, and they let on Tranquil Thicket, which means their mana might be not that good, I think it's worth it. Also Veil is another reason. So they kept a bit of a sketchy one, it looks like. I am not concerned about force. And I think I can jockey around this Veil, since it's not effective against me right now. So the question is, do I take it like Uro or Jace? I think I'm just going to take the Jace. I think it's the card that's most likely to run away with the game. It also makes their force a little bit more awkward because they have less blue cards. They get less options. Do need to be cognizant of the clock. A game 3 is going to be very difficult to play if it comes to that. So if they field us here, we can consider renning instead of Uroing, but I think I'm probably just going to Uro. So I'm just going to get an island. No, I'm going to get a forest here. And I'm just going to play Uro. I kind of want to play this Niv Mizzet on turn 4. It is both sweet and powerful. They don't really have a good way to beat it right now. Alright, so they drew black mana. Or did they draw another Jace, and that's what they're doing? Looks like it. Annoying. Is that not what they're doing? Oh, strange. They're keeping up red mana. Interesting. Why would they do that? Because they have this trophy, so preemptively affecting that island is a little weird to me. But maybe they're more concerned about bringing this back than anything else. Okay, so I'm just gonna play Niv. I don't want it to get countered later. I want to be able to get my cards out of it. Got the perfect number of cards, so I don't have to worry about discarding. Just like we drew it up. If they don't have black mana, they're going to be in a bit of trouble here. Even threatening to fairy, bounce my Niv, get some more value out of the deal. Definitely a sucker for that. Alright, so they had black mana, but they did nothing else. I'm just gonna start the turn by attacking, because if they trophy me, I'm gonna have access to more mana. Obviously, I have a lot of options here. Okay, so we have access to 7 mana, so we could definitely Uro from the graveyard. If we put 2 cards from the grave into the graveyard, which could be like an Uro and a fetch land, or we could bring to life or something. We could just bring to life for another Niv Mizzet, but our opponent's keeping up Force, so I kind of want to not do that. Force is going to exile my card too, so I think I just go Uro, because that is the thing that is the most awkward for my opponent, I believe. So I'm going to start with an Uro here. I don't want them to be able to hardcast his Force on this turn, because it makes their mana too clean. I want to make things awkward for them. Okay, so now I fetch. I'm gonna get a shock land here. I'm just gonna flush or escape this Uro. All right, that's a card I'm gonna play that just because I really do not care if this gets forced. And they ended up not doing it anyways. All right, so, and they wasted 4 mana that turn, which is obviously ideal for me. This Teferi is going to be really good against Veil of Summer too, which is worth noting. All right, they're just bringing back their Uro. That's fine. So their Force shields are down unless they pick your card. They didn't play an extra land, but they kind of thought about it for a bit. So I think they might have one. I'm going to start with Teferi and test the waters with that. Because this is going to force the Veil if they want to do that. And they just... Ashiok's Erasure. Wow. Okay. So they have Veil and a mystery card now. Do we have anything we can get that doesn't get Veil and answers this? I don't think so. I'm just going to attack. If they want to create Uros... Oh, I could get a Kaya's Guile. But if they want to create Uros, I would rather do that. Oh, Clothis is nice. Alright, they didn't want to trade. So I think I'm just going to play Ren and then bring to light for Kaya's Guile. And we don't have to do this for Max. So each opponent sacrifices a creature, and so all cards from each opponent's graveyard. Notably, this doesn't target, so it gets through that Veil, which was the idea. We only have 4 minutes and 20 seconds left on the clock. I'm just going to fetch now just for time considerations. Obviously not optimal. I want to go to f6 here. Kai's Guile being an edict that gets through Veil is really, really relevant. Really insane. But we should have plenty of time here, I think, to win. Nope, don't want to do that. It's going to get a Niv Mizzet. Green, white, black. Cast Niv. Cast Clothis. Not going to Thoughtseize into this Veil at any point. They might end up just cycling it here, and then I'll be able to get something with it after. So we have one more fetchable with a Vista, so I'll get back the Vista next turn instead of the Foothills. But I can work towards getting back that Uro. Yep, so they cycle the Veil like I thought. Let's see if they hit something good here. It's gotta be good. Ren isn't gonna be good enough. They do get a free cycle out of the Thicket, but the Ren isn't long for this world. Clothis answering Uro is really, really nice. Another Ashiok's Erasure. Kind of just doing things quickly. Sure, I'll get to Fairy here. Bounce my Niv Mizzet. Alright, they grew another Dead of Winter. It's fine. Cloth is not the easiest thing to turn on. Can be an issue sometimes. Oh, but the Wheel of Sun and Moon does that. I did not think about that. Alright, so we should have plenty of time here actually. I shouldn't be worried. I'm trying to go really fast here, but I actually have a lot of time. Forgot to patch plus my Ren, but I don't think it matters. I guess I exposed my Clothis here to another Dead of Winter, which would be a funny punish for animating it. Leyline of the Void. Alright, so they're dead. That's it. Wow, so that was a good showing for the deck. Kind of what I was talking about before, where you kind of just you can outgrind all these fair decks, just because you have so much go over the top potential with Niv Mizzet. And you also you don't get punished for your mana base in these kind of matchups, and you just have access to a greater portion of the powerful cards in the format because you're playing 5 colors, so you have access to more tools. But yeah, even though we played a little sloppy there towards the end, due to time, it was a good showing. So let's hop into another one. Clothis was really good there too, worth noting as well. Card that's seeing more play in the Ponza decks. So this is a bit of a sketchy one. Our opponent mulliganed. We actually can't really cast anything, but any land turns on everything kind of. Helix buys us time. Deck. Let's see, this deck, like the hands you have with Astrolabe versus the ones you don't are pretty clearly different. Like it really showcases the power of Astrolabe in a deck like this. This basic island looking pretty embarrassing in our Glittering Wish Lightning Helix deck. I'm gonna mulligan it. I think that hand was kind of close, but any hand with a Ren and 6 is just gonna be way better, and that's what we found. So I'm gonna keep this one. Our opponent went to 5. I think I'm just gonna put the planes on the bottom and kind of bank on this Ren and 6 hitting the table. This is only gonna be really punishing against discard spell decks, but in any discard spell matchup, I don't really want to keep extra lands either. So, all right. So our opponent has a turn 1 Arbor Elf. If they don't go ham this turn, we are going to be able to ping that off with the Ren. So kind of have to hope they don't have anything insane here. Looks like it's Ponza, and that is really bad for us. I should have fetched. That was a big mistake. I could have played a fetch land. When they played Arbor Elf, I should have. I was literally just talking about this Ponza deck. I mean, they only have like a couple copies of Magus, but definitely something I should have been aware of. So huge misstep there on my part. That being said, if we do manage to find a basic, this Astrolabe is really gonna give us access to a lot. So hopefully we can do that. Now actually, if we find any basic, we gotta go basic Astrolabe Lightning Helix. And our opponent doesn't have any cards left, so definitely still super in this. Just had to draw a 5-outer basically. Wouldn't have had to need to do that though if we had just played optimally on turn 1. So I think we have one more turn to draw the basic. I think the turn after is going to be too slow. Because we're going to go to 1. Oh no, we're still good as long as they don't have anything else. So we go one more turn here. Lightning Helix going to be able to offset one of the attacks. Alright. So that one is definitely on me. Definitely a winnable game. Although they would have been able to pillar your basic before we drew that Astrolabe maybe. But obviously not an excuse there. Really don't have much in terms of sideboard for this matchup. We don't want Veils. Veto does not seem optimal. It's possible we want this other Verdict. Ashok is bad. Boil not good. Wheel is bad. I think it's just like the Verdict and the Trophy maybe. I think Ego is really bad, so I'm gonna swap that one for the Verdict. Nothing I particularly want to name with Ego. Do we want this Trophy over anything? Could be one of these Teferis. Sure, let's do that. Alright, this hand is good. It's mostly just a hand with 2 fetch lands, which lets us decide how we want our mana base to go, but notably these Ponza decks, they don't actually play any copies of Blood Moon, they only have Maguses. So if I fetch a basic Plains, this Lightning Helix is going to be able to protect my mana base fully. Question is, do I kill a turn 1 elf? Well, I mean, I definitely would have done it with that. So we just get Forest. Problem is I kind of want a plains, but I'm going to be able to get that next turn. So I'm just going to get forest, mountain. No, I should get a duel with this, because getting mountain is pointless. So this one's definitely getting forest, so let's do that. And then I think I get steam vents. Yeah, steam vents sounds good to me. Maybe we want a land that can cast Kaya's Guile. No, I think Uro is more important. But I mean, we have the forest already, so we only need to fetch one land. So if we get steam vents, we can't cast Kaya's Guile next turn. But it brings us closer to bringing back Uro. But I think bringing back Uro shouldn't be a consideration for me, so I should get Blood Crypt then, so that I have the option to Kaya's Guile if I need to. That sounds better to me, because I can, yeah. And I'm going to get back the Vista so I can get more basics out of my deck that I actively want access to. Cindervines. Alright, not concerned about that one. So I gotta go fetch island, fetch plains. That seems good to me. Cast Uro. Suppose I just do this first and get back to Vista again. And we are now fully insulated against any hate. Alright, so that's gonna get our Uro, but we have a backup Uro, so that's fine. I'm gonna be able to Helix that too. Could also just play Niv Mizzet this turn, but I think that's worse. I think I just wanna... maybe not though. Maybe I do just play Niv Mizzet. How does playing Niv Mizzet sound? It's really big. Do I care about this? The problem is if this becomes a 4/4, like if they kill my Niv somehow and then eat it, it's gonna be hard for me to deal with. Although not really. I have so many answers. All right, I convinced myself to just play Niv. Get the swamp here. And I guess the problem with this is that I'm just gonna end up discarding a bunch of cards. But I think that's fine. Get rid of one of these Ren and 6s. And Lightning Helix. No, I think actually just the other Ren and 6. I don't think my opponent's going to deal with this one. Alright. I think a 6/6 is actually just really hard for them to beat. I'm not sure they have many answers to it on the table. Alright, so going to game 3, is there anything we want to change? I don't think so. Teferi is the only card I could consider. Maybe Kai's Guile. Guile's not that good though. Alright, let's just keep it. Slow hand, but we do have basics. Our opponent kept 7. I think I'm gonna keep this actually. This hand's really good against like pillage effects. Less good against Magus, but we do have our basic planes, so we can protect against that. Alright, Verdant's a good draw. This both lets me not get pillaged and play around Blood Moon slightly better. Or Magus, rather. Alright, so they don't have another land, it looks like. So I might just trophy that forest, honestly. Ooh, it's very juicy to do that now. I can just get a basic swamp here. No, basic forest is way better. This cuts 3 mana off my opponent. And it turns off the red mana as well. Attack there is very, very good for me, obviously. Ooh, wow, and I can start pinging these down. Although I think I'm just gonna Uro here. No, I'm just gonna ping them down. They're gonna be so far behind. They're just multiple mana away from doing anything since they didn't do anything this turn. Like if they draw a red source, they can cast a red 3-drop, but that's about it. Let's play this tap. This doesn't have a relevant basic to get, or a basic to get at all, so I'm just gonna save it. Alright. Pretty decisive there. Misstep game 1, but we overcame it. This deck is sweet. It's been a lot of fun so far. I think my biggest hurdle is going to be overcoming casting this card at any opportunity. But honestly, it's just more often than not the correct play. You want to get it into play when you can, get it around discard, get it around counter magic. Just get your value. You don't have to draw 10 cards off of it. You just draw a few, make them deal with the 6/6. Alright, well on the die roll, we have a hand with Astrolabe and spells. Pretty difficult to mulligan anything that like that. I think I'm gonna fetch an island. Sure. I don't think it's gonna matter too much. Since we have access to double Astrolabe, our mana is likely to just be perfect. This conceals a slight amount of information by just making our opponent think we might be like an Urza deck. Shriekhorn. This matchup might be tough. I would imagine that this matchup is very difficult, actually. We do have Wheel of Sun and Moons in the sideboard, but we don't really have a lot of good main deck ways to beat this deck. We have Clothis, but that is incredibly slow. I suppose we have Kaya's Guile too. Okay, we have some tools, but not optimistic about this one. Don't think I want a trophy. So I'm just gonna develop my mana here a little. They hit a stinky. Alright, chills are annoying, but less scary than putting power on the table. Oh, but they're doing both, so good draw from my opponent. And if they have a cathartic here, I'm gonna be in quite a bit of danger, and it looks like they do. And they have conflict. Oh my, this is bad. So getting back 1 amalgam now and 2 more on my end step. Kaya's Guile would be a great draw right now. Unfortunately, we did not hit that. So what is our best course of action here? Glittering Wisher, Wheel of Sun and Moon, but that's going to be way too slow. We're taking 11 damage on this turn. We're just dead next turn, so... dead on turn 3 against Courage. Not sure we actually have any course to victory here. Probably involves the arrow, so I'm just going to do that. Okay, and that's going to be that shows too much. Alright, so premium draw for my opponent, but I mean a difficult matchup anyways. Definitely going to board in these wheels. And these Ashioks too. It's possible I think we just want to board in all the things that do things. And not get too cute here. Like board out. I think Glittering Wish is going to be too slow, so I kind of want to board them out. Ego doesn't really have anything relevant to hit. Teferi is pretty bad. Trophy's pretty bad. Maybe board in this Veto too. What if we looked like this? Is this a good game plan? Helix buys us time, so I think it's much better as a removal spell. I think Thoughtseize is worth it because you can often, it's just really good early. I think we just want to like interact, draw like Wheel, Guile, or Ashiok, and then play a Niv Visit, which would be difficult for them to beat. I think that's our game plan. I'm unsure about this Veto. That's the card I'm unsure about the most, but I think it's better than all the other options. Well, we have a Guile, so I think I'm going to keep. We can't really just mulligan to Wheel of Sun and Moon. That is our best hate card, but we only have 2 of them. Third Niv Visit, not the card I wanted to see. Need land still. Another Guile is not the worst as long as we draw lands. We really need a land next turn. And we need them to not have a good Cathartic turn this turn. Because Shriekhorn is fine. Land. Alright. Yeah. Yeah. Definitely be like that sometimes, but that's fine. I mean, if they have a slow drag here, then we might still be able to get there if we draw a land next turn. Obviously, it's going to be much more difficult. They didn't hit a Gregor though, so it's kind of step 1 for us. Hardcast Amalgam, that is fine. I get swept up by the Guile too. Land? Not a land. Alright, we can get rid of one of these Niv Mizzets. I don't think it's going to come down to the 4th one. So now our opponent has Loam plus Forgotten Cave going. So I wanted that Amalgam to come back into play before I killed an Amalgam so they wouldn't see each other. Alright, let's see if we can do something here. So we're going to Edict them and exile their graveyard. Okay with my opponent drinking Loam, so I'll let them do that. I'm still okay with them dredging. So they get Ox now, so I need to do this now. Sacrifice a creature and exile your graveyard. So we're still in this. Our opponent has a Loam and a Stinkweed Imp. But if they don't have another way to get going, what is a shock? Oh, they're just casting Ox. Alright, well that is a way to keep going. They had Nature's Claim too, interesting. So they're probably pretty keen or aware. I guess this deck usually plays like Rest in Peace or Wheel of Sun and Moon, so I mean it's probably not that surprising. But we get to do the same thing to them. Can afford to wait here. They are welcome to dredge again, and I'll get them now. We may be able to get them still, as long as we can stabilize through this Ox and like the hard cast Stinkweeds. They have another thing here. Oh, that's a Thug. Okay. Okay. Fetch green. Fetch. So I go to 3 up to 6. I'm just dead if I do that. Right, so I fetch to 4, play Ren plus it. Get out my fetch line, fetch to 3. And then play Uro. Go to 6. So I can't do that. I'm just gonna play Uro then. Going into 2 here, so I'm probably dead. It's a Stinkweed, Amalgam, and a Loam. Okay, so didn't quite get there, but we put up a fight after missing our 3rd land drop. But yeah, tough matchup. I don't think Greg is on the upswing, but would definitely be a way to combat this deck. Pretty difficult to beat. We probably need to play more copies of stuff like Wheel of Sun and Moon and Ashiok in the sideboard. Ashiok probably the one that you would play more copies of just because of the overlap against like the green-black field decks that are popping around. 2 more matches to go. Probably going to be playing this deck in the Lotus Box tournament this weekend. I've really not been liking anything else too much. I do want to test some Erosa as well, so that's on the docket. Alright, so what do we got here? We have Thoughtseize into stuff. I'm down for Thoughtseize into stuff. Blood Crypt, not good rare to Teferi or Uro, but ooh. Probably didn't want to see that either with this particular hand. Think we might need to bite the bullet here and Thoughtseize still. I'm just gonna fetch a swamp, even though it sets me back from all my other stuff. I think it's worth it, saving the 2 points. And I'm gonna go to Trophy next turn. Take this other Goblin Guide, since I only have the 1 removal spell. I think this matchup is actually pretty fine. We have Lightning Helixes and Kaya's Gaia Uro. We have a lot of life gain, just incidentally. But I'm playing Islet that we didn't know about. The downside on this trophy is definitely going to be apparent this game, because because our opponent has a lot of these Horizon Cycle lands. Wouldn't mind a land here. Our Thoughtseize, not what we wanted. Probably a dead card at this point. Affecting the swamp kind of ruined us a little, because now we can't cast any of our 3-drops, but I think at the time it was worth it. I was pretty likely to see on our land. Alright, so spinning Riftbolt, casting Lava Spike for 2 mana, and Skewer. Okay. So their hand is Mountain Sunbay Canyon. I'm at a virtual 4. A land there for the Teferi would have been insane. Would have countered this Riftbolt. Knew it wasn't coming, but would have been very nice. These canopy lands are so insane in Burn. Alright, so pretty dead here now. Especially considering a Fetch land is probably going to kill us. Our opponent probably has a 3 damage burn spell. Not going to shock myself to play Teferi. Just need to find a green or a blue source and hope that my opponent continues to whiff. They could have a bunch of Searing Blazes, which would be nice for me. Alright, so now we have to play this Teferi. If their hand is all Searing Blazes and lands, we might get there with this Uro. Alright. Goblin Guy does it. Should have let on Idle on there, but not gonna matter. Alright, so what do we want different? We want this other Cloud Scout for sure. Teferi, I think we don't want Glittering Wishes, we don't want Unmoored Ego. Probably want this other trophy. Verdict less good. Might still be fine though. Ren kind of unenthusiastic about Ren. Clothis doesn't gain life ever, right? Oh, it does. Gain 2 and deal 2. Okay, so I definitely want the Clothis. Oh, we don't want Thoughtseize. A lot of stuff we don't want. Boarding the Veto and this other Niv, I suppose. Alright, let's just try that. Pretty poor hand. I think I'm gonna mulligan. We have a lot of life gain cards. I think I'm gonna try to look for one of those. Alright, I'm not gonna get too picky though. I'm gonna keep this. I'm gonna bottom one of these trophies. Although maybe I bottom the Verdict. I think that's probably better. Alright, so I'm going to play a Pillar here in case my opponent has a haste creature. A trophy. Save the life as much as possible. I'm going to not play these fetch lands if I don't have to. Definitely just going to trophy that actually. Trophy burn, pretty annoying. Lets them deploy their spells both faster and more efficiently. Makes their canopy lands better. But gotta do it. Fetch a forest here. I want to only fetch Earl lands if I can. And I think I'm just gonna bounce my Astrolabe and just try to get cards flowing. I just need to find some of my life gain stuff. I could have plus first, but then if they just deal 3 to it, I don't get a card. Just need to find a Helix or a Kaya's Guile, basically, or an Uro. Like, just one of those 10 cards would be really, really good. And I'm at 1 already, wow. I didn't find it, so I'm pretty dead. I hope they only have lands and creatures. I can beat creatures. Alright, I can beat that one. Assuming their last card's not a burn spell. Kai's got on top. Alright, so fade. Oh, it's another canyon. They get another look. Oh, thank God. So I gotta gain 4 here, which is huge. I have to fairy, so I don't have to do it right now. So they can't respond by killing me. So I'm gonna gain 4 and make a 1/1. Yeah. Alright, that's fine. So I'm just gonna bounce my Astrolabe again. And now I'm gonna Verdict. Should get it for 1. Replay my Astrolabe. So he's me dead to a creature for 1 turn, but I think it was worth it. I've drawn a lot of lands here. Alright, and I'm dead. Alright, well, definitely saw some of the downsides there of playing Thoughtseize and 5-color mana base and Trophy as your removal spell. But I mean, we were only a couple life gain spells away from winning either of those games. Alright, one more match. Let's try to get that 3-2. Alright, this is a great hand. We keep this one. Effect out a mountain here. Thoughtseize is great. So we have the option to go Thoughtseize plus Astrolabe next turn in case we don't want to Ren. Copperline Gorge. Oh, it's Curage again. Not like this. Jeez. Alright, so I think I need to Thoughtseize. So I'm gonna play Astrolabe first. I need to get Cathartic out of their hand if they have it. I'm gonna fetch a Forest here. Not sure if Dredge is on the uprise or if this is just like an anomaly, but not something that I've been noticing before. So we got a Cathartic. So their hand is pretty weak. We just need to dodge this Shriekhorn a little bit. They hit Dakmor, but that's kind of a slow dredge. We do have Brinklight in our hand, so we might be able to. If their draw's a little slow, we might be able to get them. Okay, so they hit a Stinkweed. And I think their turn is just do nothing then, right? Yeah. So you have Dakmor in hand. Okay, so what's our course here? Do we want to leave up Helix or do we just want to Ren? Leaving up Helix means we don't get Bloodgasted, potentially. It's not the same opponent, is it? No. Do we care about Bloodghast? I don't think so. I think I just want to play Ren. Alright, so Stinkweed. They hit Bloodghast. But they don't have any amalgams, so it's just a Bloodghast. And they do get an Oxus though. But Oxus, I guess the Ox is going to discard their amalgam. So we're not in a great spot here. Kill. And another amalgam. Alright, so I think we're pretty dead. Assuming they still have a fetch bowl here. They're probably going to attack me, I would assume. Yep. Alright, so we have Helix plus Trophy, but I don't think that is good enough. Because they also have that con flag. They have 4 cards, so they can deal 7. We're gonna be at 8, so maybe? They didn't get back their Bloodghast, which I think was a mistake. I think if they got back their Bloodghast, they had exactly lethal. I'm not sure it matters though. I don't know how we get back from this. How much does Kaya's Guile cost to entwine? I think it's 6, right? Yeah, so we can't even... If we could entwine Kaya's Guile, we might have been able to do it. Oh, the trophy brings back the Bloodghast, it's funny. So I should have trophied the Ox first, and then Helix the prize amalgam, because now the amalgam comes back, so misstep from me. Oh, they drew Loam. Or they had Loam. So I'm dead. Okay. Okay. I think we're gonna have the same plan as last time. I think our plan was fine, it just didn't pan out. So I'm just gonna board in stuff that does stuff. And take out stuff that doesn't do stuff. Trophies are bad. Fairies are bad. And Glittering Wish is kind of slow, because we're gonna board in all of our graveyard hate. So we're not gonna have anything to get with it. I think that's what we did. Oh no, we boarded in the other verdict as well over the ego. That's what it was. Nothing we want to ego. So, alright. Let's draw Wheel of Sun and Moon. We might need that one. Might be our... Maybe we need to mulligan more aggressively. Maybe that's our issue. I mean, game 1 we clearly didn't know that they were on Dredge. So I think the hand was a definite keep. But perhaps the post-forward hand we kept last time wasn't good enough. It had Kaya's Guile, but no third land. Kaya's Guile is a pretty effective piece of graveyard hate though, because you get their entire graveyard, and even if they manage to get on the board a little bit, it does edict them before exiling their graveyard, so you always get like their amalgam or their Bloodghast. The only thing it's bad against is Narcomoeba, obviously. But if they have that, then so be it. I think that's probably part of the reason why it's important to keep in Ren in this matchup. Picking off the Narc Amiibos is fairly relevant. Alright, well, this hand is fantastic, so I'm going to keep it. The only issue with this hand is that I cannot Thoughtseize, but I think that is fine. Suppose I could Thoughtseize and then just not wheel on turn 2 and just go double Thoughtseize into wheel or Ashiok. Is that better? No, I think it's better to wheel because I have another piece of graveyard hate. So this will prevent their fast draws. And if they have an answer to the wheel, then I have something else. Even though Ashiok is not that good. Maybe this was a mistake, but the problem with Thoughtseizing is that, like, if their hand is just two things, like if they just have two Shriekhorns, like it could just be, the game could just be over already. But maybe that's a mistake. I'm not actually positive. They don't have a Nature's Claim here though. The game is basically over. They're just gonna Cathartic to find an answer, so they're gonna pave the way for this Thoughtseize. Hopefully they don't draw two answers. Right, so I'm gonna take the trophy. They have Cathartic again, but that's fine. Alright, what are they discarding to this Cathartic? Probably they discarded double Shriekhorn. So they kept these three cards. Did they hit another Nature's Claim? Is that what they're going for here? Or are they just vacuum main phase? Interesting. Oh, they have a Neonate. Would make the most sense to me. So that's these again. Yep. This is what I meant by Neonate, by the way. Forget what this card is called. Merchant. That's what it was. So the Merchant's going to be pretty annoying on the way down, but we do have Lightning Helix, so it's not too bad. I think I just take Bloodghast so that they can't just cast it. Sure, I think that's the thing I care about the most. So I think it's more likely to cast this than either of the blue creatures. Then I'll play Ashiok, and I think I'll exile their graveyard and mill myself. Try to find an Uro. Alright. The wheel did it. We got a game off Dredge. Not an easy feat. Let's see if we can do it again. It'd be a lot harder on the draw, obviously. They have Trophy, so maybe you can consider Veil of Summer as anti-hate. But I think that is pretty considerably slow. In that game too, we took a line where like we were so pressured by the threat of Dragon that we just had to play our hate piece early before even thoughts using. So similarly, Veil of Summer is not going to be that effective, I think. So I think I'm just going to run this back. I could try to ego their conflags or something like that, but I think that's kind of a losing battle as well. Our opponent kept 7. This hand kind of, well, powerful cards, not powerful hates. So, gonna mulligan. That being said, I don't think I can go too low just because I know they're gonna have anti-hate now, and I still need to be able to do my thing. And turn 4 Bring to Light is actually a way that I could win this game, so I'm gonna keep this one. Not a hand I'm super excited about, obviously, but if I'm going to 5, I'm basically saying I'm looking for Wheel of Sun and Moon, and I don't really have a lot of those, and I know they have answers. So I'm not sure that's actually a winning battle, or rather a high EV battle. Alright, found a Kyle's Guile. So their hand's a little bit slower. They don't have Shriekhorn, so it might be. We definitely have a chance here. Alright. Alright, just a loam. I was definitely worried about Cathartic there. They return no cards with loam too. So if they're trying to Ox quickly, that could be the case. So I'm definitely going to play Ren here. I'm going to fetch a plane so that I can Kaya's Guile next turn if I want to. I have this Astrolabe, so I can still cast the Ren. And I think because the Loam is going to put 3 cards, so they're going to go up to 6 other cards. They could fetch up to 8, or up to 7, so I definitely don't want to ping this. Because that would be the 8th card for their Ox, so I'm definitely just going to plus. And I'm just going to get back the Vista here. Alright. If they don't put power into play this turn, I feel pretty good about my spot. This is just casting Merchant that's going to be good for me too. Casting Bloodghast is fine as well. Okay, I actually really like my spot here. Because what I get to do is I get to ping plus Kaya's Guile. And then they don't really have anything going on. Is that right? Yeah, that sounds right. I do need to Kaya's Guile draw step so that they can't Ox me. But I think that is a-okay. So let's do that. I'll just fetch an island here. Develop my Uro escape mana. And I think edicting my opponent is better than making a 1/1. I would rather neither of us have a 1/1 than both of us have a 1/1. Sounds better to me. Alright, so they got back to Loam. And so I'm just going to do this now before they get back their things. So we get 3 Bloodghast out of the deal, which is awesome. Get the Ox, get the Narcomoeba. They have a Loam in hand that doesn't really do anything. Loving my spot right now. Casting Merchant, alright, that's fine. I can just verdict that. I think I'm just going to verdict that. I want to be not greedy. I want to have the best chance I can to bring to light on an empty board next turn. I'll return this Vista. Probably should have returned the Mesa, actually. That's fine. Just get the Swamp. And just kill that Merchant. Stinkweed is fine. Alright. So what do we do now? We can get a hate card with this Bring to Light. Or we can just play Uro. Or we can just get Niv Mizzet. I think I just want to get Niv Mizzet. I think I just want to press the advantage. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to get back to Mesa. Because as long as I have a board presence, I'm going to be able to not get overrun as much. And if this Niv Mizzet finds me like another Bring to Light, or any of the cards I was going to tutor for, it's going to be way better. But is that too greedy? Could also just get a Clothis, but I think that's bad. I think I'm just going to get the Niv Mizzet. Excellent. Excellent. Alright, I don't need to front half this Uro. I don't need this other Ren. And I don't really need this fetch land. Alright. So we even have this verdict if they go ham on the battlefield. If they don't, we have Ashiok plus Lightning Helix. Loving her spot. We have the Uro coming back next turn if we wanted to. Creeping Kill's fine. We got plenty of life gain. Alright. Ooh, and a wheel. So we can go wheel plus Helix. No, I think we just Uro plus... So let's think about this. Not really in risk getting burnt out, I don't think. They only have 2 chills left. So the most they can do is 6. Plus maybe some conflag shenanigans, but that's going to be difficult to do all of that in the same turn. So as long as I gain 3, I should be guaranteed safe, I think. So I don't need to worry about gaining 6. So which 3 do I want to gain? Casting Uro actually only gains 1 because I have to shock myself. So I think I'm just going to play Helix plus leave up mana. For like Kai's Guile. I'd probably just play Ashiok and leave up mana for Helix. Yeah, that seems the best. So I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna play Ashiok. Not gonna melt anyone. I'm gonna get back my Mesa. I'm gonna play Mesa just to give myself the option to Kai'Scowl if I want to, but I don't think I'm actually gonna do it. Like I could use Helixes now, and then Ashiok. That could be fine. That lets me get him for 6. Sure, let's do that. That closes out the game faster. I guess Ashiok them. I have plenty of cards for my Uro, and I don't want to be able to I don't want to mill over any of my bullets that I might want to tutor. I actually got their other 2 creeping chills. Oh no, just one. I got 1 creeping chill out of their deck, so the chances they burn me out are a lot lower. So I should have played a tap line instead of this Mesa if this was going to be my line. Okay, so they have Cathartic here, so there's definitely a way I could lose here. If they hit like another chill, a conflag, some blood gas, and like haste them all. But they're like 3 blood gas deep and 3 creeping chills deep. It seems incredibly unlikely. So they can cycle Forgotten Cave, but then they're done for the turn. They have a Blast Zone. So I'm gonna ping the Narcomoeba, bring to life for Lightning Helix, and that will be the game. Excellent. Alright, awesome. So we managed to beat Dredge. Not an easy feat, obviously. But yeah, this deck was a lot of fun. Definitely something I want to keep working on. I think it has some potential. I think it probably occupies the space in Modern that like Jund is trying to occupy, but it does it a little bit better than Jund does, in my opinion. You just get access to more haymakers, more cards that actually swing matchups as opposed to just a bunch of 55% cards. But yeah, that's going to be it from me. Really appreciate any of you who stuck around for the entire league, and I will see you all next time I record a video. Thanks a lot.